Welcome to Kings Point Live, the ultimate podcast for the vibrant, active 55-plus lifestyle. We're diving into the stories, the people, and the passions that keep our community thriving. Live local and full of life. Here is your host.
Good afternoon, Kings Point. This is Gary, your host, and today I have the absolute pleasure pulling back the curtain in the Emerald City, also known as Kings Point, to reveal the great Oz, Matt Permuth. Matt, welcome.
Thank you for the introduction as I laugh kind of half-heartedly here. So it's an interesting segue you just gave there. You said behind the curtain. Interestingly enough, that's the goal. That's the goal and the role of us as the management company to help facilitate and to help provide lifestyle and programming and operations without being in the news. So it's an interesting segue there.
Well, I see you out and about quite a bit, so you're not behind the curtain too often. But I was looking at your LinkedIn account, and I just want to educate our listeners here a little bit. It's a pretty impressive resume you have. I know that you were a program director at the Tampa Palms Country Club, and you were also the general manager of the Apollo Beach Racquet Club, general manager of Vesta Property Services for 6 years, and then you went to the regional director of operations for ClubLink. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And then a minister, Sun Towers Community, the regional vice president, general manager of Vesta Property Services. That's your current position.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you so much. That's amazing. In your role as the general manager here, just give me a brief overview of your responsibilities here.
So overall, the role of the GM provides oversight to the land trust operations. As I meet people in the hallway and they ask what I do or what I'm supposed to be doing, I get to oversee and lead the fun stuff. So anything from the amenity side, transportation, and security side. So your food and beverage, your dining, your shows, transportation, security, like I said, and then you have the spa and salon, the fitness, basically anything that touches the residents on the fun end. That falls beneath the scope. So we have about 200 employees, which I hope do a tremendous job of providing those first warm welcomes and great introductions and represent our brand the proper way. We have a very unique property here. I think I estimated one day we have about 10,000 customer contact points every single day with the employees.
That's amazing.
So it's a very large scope. And again, as I referenced after your introduction, the goal for us is to help the residents fulfill what they would like to do from an amenity standpoint without being the story.
That's awesome. So on these, when you have events, how are the events? I know we just went through the 4th of July, the monthly. That was amazing to have so many events just for the 4th of July. I really enjoyed all those. So what goes into the planning of that?
Well, it makes me super happy to hear that, so I appreciate hearing that. So we'll just go over that. 4th of July, we determined internally with a little meeting that I brought the team in, and I'm very fortunate to have some wonderful team members who are involved in lifestyle and programming and operations. It became, you can't celebrate America in one day after 250 years. So we brainstormed, the team put together a number of things that we thought would be beneficial, including the pool parties, the tea parties, the Hamilton movies, all these different various activities to kind of celebrate it all month long. So it is a collaborative effort, not only among the team members. So I think one of the great things from working here on and off for 14 years is the recognition that our residents have phenomenal ideas, and our jobs are based on supporting them. So if there's a good idea that's out there and it doesn't come from the staff, we embrace it. It doesn't have to come from a committee. It doesn't have to come from anybody that's an elected official, on a board. We're here to serve the 9,000, which has its own challenges, but at the same time, it's very fluid. So one of the things that's super interesting now is we have a group doing the cabaret. That's not us doing it. That is a group of very talented residents who have some great connections, who are booking talent and doing some recruiting on their own right, and have set up an environment that makes our residents happy. It's selling out every single month. It becomes a challenge to get a ticket. So that's interesting to me because I tune into because that's serving an underserved market that we're not doing as the management company. And the way I look at that is there may be a way to spin off to do something that we can help support but not take away from the club all in due time because our residents are responding to that. So it's comedy, it's singing in an intricate environment. So that's kind of how my mind works, is what's working, what's not. People vote with their feet in their wallet, and we navigate the day-to-day based on what clubs do, support the clubs, try not to overstep with the clubs, try to, help facilitate some of that. So it's this ongoing Forrest Gump feather challenge of we just kind of go with the tides, and our residents really help run with where we go with it. And if something doesn't work, we can say we tried, on to the next thing.
That's great. You mentioned the cabaret. So is it a whole different entity than the theater shows that we do?
Yeah, we as Vesta do not put on the cabaret.
Gotcha.
It's a club. And as you may, from the man that I'm looking at running the Apple Club, you've got 200 to 300 different clubs here. So that is something that they have put on entirely on their own, which is working. So that's always fun to me because the goal, or one of my highlights of sitting in my office and walking around, I like to go and say hi to people. I love watching people out and active and enjoying their amenities. That's people have worked hard their entire career, or if they're on the back end of their career and they're here, it's great to see them come out with their friends, their neighbors, go to the pool, hang out, have a good time, have a drink, see them in the dining hall, and engaging in pickleball activities. Like it's the highlight of what we do. It's why we're in it. So it's really neat for me to go to a full theater and see a lot of folks and listening to the singing, the laughing, the playing, having drinks with their friends. There's nothing better.
Well, with such a diverse group of individuals here, how do you balance the education, the fitness, the social, the offerings that we have?
Great question. So you've got 9,000 folks, as we've seen by various topics, from paint colors to temperatures in a room to the type of music to the music volume. Honestly, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, unless you niche program and you niche modify your operations to hit pockets. So what I'll do is I'll look at a function, and if we've had 40 to 50 people that are happy doing that, that means that's a win for that 40 to 50. And we keep having to search for those underserved areas to find out what we can do to accommodate them. So it is rolling. It is a constant challenge. Music tends to be one of the biggest ones. The Winter Series, it sounds like you've got Scott coming up on the docket.
Yes, sir.
Coming out of COVID, there was a decision that I made, I just got lucky, switching from big band. We were selling 450-ish tickets per show, a lot of capacity, not a lot of engagement over time. It was drifting down lower. So I switched it a little bit to a little bit more modern rock, just to kind of see how that would play out as kind of a real life experiment, what I thought would work based on what I was hearing. Fortunately, it worked. And then Scott's taken it to the next level. So that's a perfect example of we're constantly navigating, constantly moving, constantly evaluating the pulse of the community. I'd hate to say it, I'm always on social media looking. I try not to engage very much anymore because of my health. But it's something we do care about and we want to be on the front burner of, and we're just going to morph and modify.
So how do you get the feedback? Just people coming up to you, they call you. I'm sure you get calls every day, I'm sure.
D, all of the above. So
above.
You referenced it earlier when you said you see me all over town here in the clubhouses and moving around. Best part of the job is walking around and saying hello to people and engaging with people and getting their feedback, good and bad. It's part of it. It's not about hiding in the office, and we go seek out information. Doesn't mean we want to hear it all the time, but we do try to go seek it out. And it doesn't mean we hit home runs all the time. It doesn't mean we're perfect. There are some limitations. We do have budgetary constraints. One of the biggest things I get is, hey, what about this band? What about this band? What about this? We do have constraints sometimes. We do have limited room capacity. So we can't do everything we want to, but it's just not within the realm of possibility.
Well, the one thing I've noticed being a resident here since 2018 is just the constant renewing of the facilities here. I mean, it just, you get into a lot of 55 plus communities that have been around for a while and they show their age quite well, but not here. There's always seems like some kind of renovation going on here. Now, is that more on the Vesta property other side or your side? So
That's going to actually be a testament to the way your documents have been set up with the loan, and which is the keeping the building in certain conditions is a product of the loan, in addition to the great work that the RFEC committee and the Federation board put into evaluating the projects with the management company. Great question, because I do get a lot of these. The way that process will work every single year, in fact, I'm working on the budget for next year now, is we'll bring together from our reserve analysis a list of all of the assets and what may be going good or bad, AC units, flooring opportunities, and we'll bring probably close to $2 million worth of quote unquote options. Some you've got to do, they're not very sexy. I'll use the AC units. By the way, we don't replace an AC unit if it's showing wear and tear, but if it's in the reserve, we'll place it in just in case of an oh crap moment. Mm-hmm. But all of those items are listed in the reserve, and we present it to the board and the RFEC, and there's a lot of dialogue back and forth. Hey, we should do this. We shouldn't do this. Times are tight. We don't want to do this. I'll use the paving project or for the indoor pool, which turned well. The outdoor pavers, those continuous improvement projects. In fact, this year you're getting ready to have your bathrooms here at the North Clubhouse redone. So those are all a part of a give and take with the boards and the committee and the RFEC committee about what we can do with the funds that are available.
Well, is there anything that you could maybe let the cat out of the bag of something coming around the corner that you could give us a little peek about?
Sure. I think it's all in due time, but I think one of the things we've seen is we're pretty locked and loaded at the South Clubhouse, especially during season, time, energy, kitchen space, utilization, lines. I went in between. There was one epiphany moment I had last year where we were in between there were two shows we had to offer because the show sold out, the entertainment series sold out. So we had the first show, and in between them, I ran down to the South Club to say hello to everybody. That place was full. We had Jubilee full. We had the main dining area, the bar full, and the loft was full. There was no place to sit anyone. So it just became, as our users get more and more active, and as the folks coming in here get more young and engaged, they're looking for social activities. They're looking to go out with their friends. There's not a lot of super attractive options in Sun City Center. And if you have a couple drinks or if you want to be with your friends, it's nice to be able to just go down the street. It was this recognition, even if you expanded the kitchen, even if you did this, you don't have any place to put people. You don't have any seats. So one of the things that we're working in conjunction with the board and the RFEC is you've started to see some morphing food options and business operations here at La Perque at the North Clubhouse. I think what you're going to end up seeing over time as capacity constraints is you're going to see that turn into kind of a night dining option. We've got the chicken tenders and the pizza and some of these other stuff with the oven. So we're going to keep tweaking what that menu looks like. Not the grab and go, more of the hot food. And I think you're going to see that play out over time because there's really no other place to put them. That's going to be a pretty significant change for the community. We have one dining outlet for the evenings. And like we said, during season, it's jammed. So I think that's coming. I'm not sure it's going to happen this season, but as this plays out, I think you'll see that turn into a completely different entity.
That's fantastic. And one last thing. I did notice on your LinkedIn, I didn't want to bring this up to the last, but I saw that you are the president and CEO of Helping Hand for Seniors.
Yep.
That's amazing. Can you just tell me a little bit about that?
So I think you had referenced, I was at Sun Towers as the administrator, overseeing that building for 2 years. It was in some ways the best job, but the hardest job I've ever had in my life. Absolutely loved the residents. You get attached to them very quickly, which is my weakness, and life happens. I did see a lot of families, moving loved ones in based on a circumstance or an emergency without fully knowing why they were moving into the community. That was tough. Without going into details, some weren't the right fit for the community. So one of the things I started when I was out is the Helping Hands. So I help guide folks whose families are going through the process. They don't know where to choose. I do some research for them. A lot of the calls I get are folks that can't afford anything like that, and they need resources. So I just do my best to try to connect them with what I do know. There are only a certain amount of communities that take subsidization, so I try to help them learn what those are going to be. If they're in pretty good shape and they're searching, I try to give the weaknesses and the strengths of each community. I get a lot of rehab questions on where to go, whatnot, and I just try to provide options for people and try to give what I hear at the ground level. Fortunately, having been here for 14 years, I get to hear from people what's working and what's not on the ground level. So those are a lot of the calls I get. It also is kind of where I get to do some of my charity work. This community has been so phenomenal over time with supporting some of the things that have been personal to me with Moffitt Cancer Center and some other charities that we've done some stuff with. It gives me kind of a separate like mental space and outlet to do some of those things where I get to give some of my donations and do some things from. So it's actually really cool for me to, and I'll say this, it's one of those things I try to do behind the scenes quietly now that we're talking about it. So it's rewarding to me. This is a great community, and I feel very fortunate to have been a part of this for 14 years.
Well, that's why I brought it up. It's very special to me, anybody that serves their community the way that you do. So I want to thank you for that. And also I want to thank you for being here today. And it's been a pleasure. I'm sure the residents got to learn a lot more about Matt. And it's just so great to have you here. So Kings Point, stay tuned, stay engaged, and stay connected. And we'll see you next episode. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.